My stepmother is demanding that I give up my dream wedding venue in favor of my stepsister, because apparently she also wants to get married and wishes to do so before me. Okay, guys, trust me, I saw this coming a mile away. I should do something elaborate. To get revenge because I'm not going to allow them to ruin my special day. In response to the pressure exerted by my stepmother, Amelia, who insisted that she hand over her daughter Isabella's chosen venue, or face the threat of family members boycotting, my wedding, I decided to trick her. Fortunately, I had revealed a fake venue hiding my real choice while openly expressing my frustration at not having a venue I went through with my wedding, excluding both Amelia and Isabella from the celebration. I would have been glad to have Isabella because she didn't really understand how her mother acted. However, when Isabella's wedding came around, everyone was raving about how great my wedding was compared to hers. After that, Amelia found out that I had my wedding without them. My fiancé Henry proposed to me. Marriage almost 5 months ago. We started wedding planning right away, knowing how grand I wanted my wedding to be after organizing everything, booking everything, and checking everything off. The list I decided to inform my family, I announced our wedding at our annual reunion, telling them I plan to send out formal invitations in the coming weeks. As a precautionary measure, let's make sure we were easy to arrange, allowing for flexibility. Should we decide to set the date within the next 3 months? The following year, this generated immense joy, as if a dream was becoming a reality, but Amelia refused to be left behind. For as long as I can remember, Amelia's consistent preference for Isabella over me was evident and had a profound impact on my childhood. At 9 years old, Amelia threw Isabella an extravagant birthday party with everything imaginable. My birthday, which followed Isabella's just a few weeks later, was a much simpler affair, and I often felt overshadowed by the grandeur of Isabella's celebrations. It was clear that Amelia preferred her own daughter. Amelia showered Isabella with lavish gifts while I received much less expensive presents. I clearly remember at Christmas, when Isabella received a new bicycle while I received a small toy. This stark difference in gifts made me feel less loved and cared for. As we grew older, our academic achievements became a point of differentiation. Amelia constantly praised Isabella's achievements but rarely acknowledged my academic accomplishments. This disparity fueled a feeling of inadequacy in my stepmother's perception during parent-teacher conferences. Amelia consistently focused on interacting with Isabella's teachers, showing little interest in my educational journey. These feelings of neglect and discrimination intensified over time, exacerbated by the absence of my biological mother, who passed away when I was just a child. She was in a tragic car accident on her way home from work one afternoon, and her life was tragically cut short. My memories of her are very vague, consisting mainly of her warm presence, lullabies, and the gentle touch of her hands. However, I remember the food she used to cook delicious recipes from our Spanish culture. My father was devastated by the loss of his wife. He was left to raise me alone, and the weight of this grief weighed heavily on him. She was crushed. She could barely get me to school most days, and turned to her childhood friend Amelia for comfort when they ran into each other at a gathering. Amelia's life came to a complete standstill when her husband left her because she was pregnant with their daughter. It's worth noting that some men are terrified cowards with no responsibility. It was a painful experience, and she was left to raise her unborn daughter alone during her darkest times. Dad was there to offer support and comfort, and has always cared for Amelia, feeling a responsibility towards her given their history of friendship and mutual trust. Seeing Amelia in such a vulnerable state, Dad chose to embrace her into our family and raise his daughter as his own. His decision to marry Amelia was not only out of duty, but also driven by genuine affection. I believe it stems from a fear that Isabella will face abandonment, just like her past experiences. This deep-rooted insecurity has manifested in Amelia's actions over the years. She is so afraid that my dad will love Isabella less than he has been, compensating by taking away my belongings to give to Isabella. That is no excuse, obviously. I understand, but I refuse to sympathize. Now I understand everything, but I will never forgive him for the trauma he caused me when I was a child. Whenever a disagreement or setback arose between us, Amelia would often side with Isabella without considering my perspective. Even when it wasn't my fault, I was the one who faced the consequences. The unfair treatment made me feel like I was always in the wrong. I noticed that Isabella received special treatment, even in everyday household matters. For example, Amelia would prepare Isabella's favorite meals, but she rarely took my. This made me feel like a stranger in my own home and during family gatherings, Amelia would proudly introduce Isabel to relatives and friends, but often forget to mention it to me. This really hurt me because as a young child who lost her mother, I felt invisible and unrecognized. When I was around 8 years old, there was one particular incident from my childhood that is still quite vivid in my memory. One that I could use to perfectly illustrate Amelia's favoritism towards Isabella and her tendency to be overly critical of me. It was summer and my family had organized a get-together with a barbecue. As a young child, I was excited about the event and eager to make a good impression. I had saved up a good amount and decided to buy a new dress for the occasion. The aim was to boost my confidence and have a good time with my family. At the gathering, I found a beautiful summer dress that I thought would be perfect for the occasion. It was colorful with a playful pattern and made me feel really happy. I bought it with the money I had saved, excited about how I would look on him. What I didn't know was that my choice of dress would lead to a really unpleasant incident. When I proudly entered the house wearing my new dress, I was met with a mix of reactions from my family. Some relatives praised me for my choice, while others seemed a little shocked. It wasn't long before Amelia's judgmental eyes focused on my outfit. She took one look at my dress and immediately scolded me, accusing me of trying to copy Isabella. In her opinion, my decision to wear a dress similar to Isabella's was widely unacceptable. She said I was jealous of a 10-year-old whose mother chose her clothes. She berated me for my choice and accused me of envying my stepsister. As if the harsh words weren't enough, Amelia's anger quickly escalated. Without warning, she slapped me across the face. It was a sharp, stinging blow that left me stunned, and in tears I experienced humiliation and felt unfairly treated. I struggled to understand why Amelia resorted to such violence. Her actions that day left a lasting emotional scar that I continued to carry. It was a telling testimony of her favoritism toward Isabella. The ruthless treatment I suffered true to my prediction the day after my wedding announcement. He made an announcement that left me furious and amused at the same time. He stated that Isabella and her boyfriend were getting married just weeks before my wedding. I had only met once before that, so I found it really strange that he proposed to Isabella after only 90 days of dating without any external or internal influence, if you know what I mean. But Isabella didn't seem pregnant, either, since she was toasting with champagne after the announcement. I still find it strange that you can't drink alcohol at 20 legally in this country, but you can still get married without getting into politics. So my family was home when I got a call saying the venue was free. My family was there to verify, and I could check it out if I wanted. This was an easy to book additional venue, by the way, so Amelia said I should bring everyone and that it was going to be something fun to do as a family. While I was checking out the venue, my thoughts were interrupted by the sound of Amelia's voice echoing through the aisle. I turned to see her approaching, her face etched with an air of pride that was all too familiar to me. Isabella was following her closely, her innocent gaze mirroring her mother's manipulative behavior. She issued threats, insisting that I hand over my exquisite venue for Isabella's wedding. As you know, her desperation left them no options. In no time, she explicitly expressed her determination to take any action necessary to make my life miserable. We need to talk, Amelia declared, her tone laced with threat. I've thought it over and decided that this venue is perfect for Isabella's wedding. If you should finally give in, or, well, make sure the whole family knows how selfish you are, well, I decided to play along without telling her. Honestly, this was just a backup venue, so I replied to her message saying that I need time to think it over. In reality, I was already there, one step ahead of her. Desperation has always been a soft spot for Amelia, and she can't conceive that I would dare challenge so my hesitation only fueled her belief that she had the upper hand. My relationship with Amelia has always been strained, but this was a new low. My father married her when I was only 8 years old, and since then, as you all know, Amelia had set her mind to undermining me at every opportunity, without knowing of my victory by securing the venue that I truly desired. I hung my head, letting my long hair fall around my face to hide my smile, because honestly, I can't act at all. I don't want any trouble, Amelia. If she means this much to you, here it is. You can have the venue. For the past few months, I had secretly booked another beautiful venue for my wedding. I didn't know if I would get a date, so I booked another venue, which I took everyone to check out. My father had no idea of my plans, but he had always been ignorant of Amelia's true character. I kept this secret from everyone, including Henry, because I was worried about how expensive it is to book a venue. And honestly, I knew Amelia was going to do this, so I knew my money wasn't going to be wasted. A few days after my fake concession to Amelia, I decided it was time to reveal my secret wedding plans. Henry was initially hesitant about the elaborate idea that I had for the wedding, but he couldn't allow Amelia to tell me. That night, I sat with my father, both of us drinking glasses of alcohol as part of our tradition every Saturday since I turned 18. My dad and I would drink cheap rum, immersing ourselves in arguments until we eventually fell asleep, chatting about various random topics like the political and economic state of the world. Amelia even tried to ruin that tradition by trying to get Isabella to drink with us. And of course, Isabella threw up on anything and everything in her field of vision after a single sip of rum, which she claimed she knew was permanent marker. Yeah, so we were doing that. The room was dim, and the liquor had already played havoc with our inhibitions. So I remember taking a long, deep breath, gathering the courage to tell my father my deepest frustrations, risking losing my composure. I told him that it was Amelia who had been manipulating me for years, making me feel guilty about everything I did. I recounted all the stupid little things where she made me feel unappreciated, how they piled up and made me feel like a stranger to the comfort of my family. I had to fight for an equal place in my own home or risk losing everything, including my father's love. I explained how he pressured me to give up my dream venue for Isabella's wedding. My father's expression hardened, realizing the depth of Amelia's control. He asked why I hadn't told him sooner. Well, I explained that I was afraid she would turn him against me, and I couldn't bear the thought of losing the only close family I had left. He, in his thick voice, assured me he had no idea things had gotten to this point. Then he suggested a plan. I should pretend I didn't have an alternative venue for my wedding. I simply shouldn't invite Amelia, and Isabella believed that when guests showed up at Isabella's wedding and saw how grand mine was, it would be the perfect revenge, and Amelia wouldn't expect it. Although now I regret not telling her sooner because, damn it, I'd never thought of it that way. It didn't even occur to me to get revenge or uninvite those of me completely wedding. Wasn't occupying my thoughts at that moment. In the weeks that followed, I maintained my role, feigning indecision about whether to give up my place to Isabella. Meanwhile, she was well aware of my covert plan and simply went ahead with it. Together with Henry's support, we discreetly worked on arrangements for our wedding at the alternative venue. I discreetly sent out wedding invitations to my closest family and friends, looking for a small, intimate ceremony. I also informed my paternal family not to include Amelia in their conversations and to refrain from inviting her. Then Henry finally understood why I booked 2 venues and was sincerely impressed by my ability to anticipate people's behavior. I mean, obviously I'm a lawyer, I do this for a living, and I make a lot of money. A week later, our wedding day arrived, and Henry and I were together in a hidden corner at the stunning venue, watching our guests arrive. The look of surprise on their faces as they took in the beauty of the venue was priceless. I could see the satisfaction reflected in Henry's eyes as he squeezed my hand. You did it, girl. The ceremony was magical. With the golden sun shining brightly, the venue was truly beautiful. We exchanged rings, solidifying our commitment to providing unwavering support and unconditional love for one another. The ensuing reception became a joyful celebration of love, and success guests couldn't stop praising the venue, expressing awe at the stunning setting. We danced, laughed, and celebrated late into the night. And let's not forget the food. It was absolutely delicious. The location was perfect. The vibes were immaculate. Obviously, Amelia and Isabella weren't there, but their absence was proof that my plan was working. The ceremony was a massive testament to the success of my plan. I had no idea our wedding was even taking place, let alone the grandiose idea of the venue we had secured. As the night drew to a close, I couldn't have been happier. I had finally taken control of my own destiny and had a loving partner by my side as Henry and I left the venue hand in hand, ready to embark on our life together. Free from the manipulation of the past, we decided to postpone our honeymoon until Christmas, so we would have an excuse to go somewhere warm in the winter and have a reason to avoid Christmas dinner with his family. He purposely doesn't have the best relationship with his parents. The days following our wedding were remarkably calm and filled with joy. We embraced our married life. We valued the love and trust we shared. This contrasted markedly with the tumultuous dynamics that had characterized my past relationships with Amelia and Isabella. Given that we were already living together, Amelia didn't find it strange or express surprise when I was no longer as present in the house. A couple of weeks went by and I became involved in bridesmaid things, preparing Isabella for her wedding and planning everything so that she could have her wedding. He tended to be quite evasive in general, communicating only through Isabella and being quite indifferent about everything that was happening around him. Isabella's wedding day arrived, and she looked radiant in her beautiful white dress, walking down the aisle where she was. The wedding went off without a hitch, and the guests marveled at the beauty the venue was buzzing about. How impressive and well-planned everything was. Many were wondering how Amelia and Isabella managed to secure such a venue, at the last minute, just as my father had predicted. These women also compared their wedding to mine, calling mine much better and much more beautiful. Not that I meant to purposely outdo Isabella, but things turned out that way. I meticulously planned every detail for months. The only downside was having one less bridesmaid, since Isabella wasn't even invited anyway, oh dear. Women tend to be less discreet. They don't care much about who's listening. They'll shout their offensive opinions or not. Therefore, Amelia found out about my wedding going as planned. What greater insult is there than not being invited to your daughters? Wedding. Amelia's smug expression turned to confusion. As the sentences continued, she had no knowledge of my wedding. As she looked around the stage in awe, she realized she had been outsmarted. But of course, she saved her outburst for later. I watched all the events from my vantage point, a feeling of triumph growing inside me. Bam Henry stood by my side, his hand in mine. As we rejoiced in the success of our secret wedding, it was a day I would never forget, not only because I finally stood up to Amelia, but because I had reclaimed my right to happiness and the wedding of my dreams. Truly, the exchange of vows between Isabella and Finn was breathtaking. And as they sealed their love with a kiss, I quietly said to Henry that it seemed Amelia had accepted that she could no longer control my life. Isabella's wedding reception was opulent, with a splendid spread of food and lively dancing. I couldn't help but overhear snatches of guests praising the stunning venue, but subtly noting that mine was indeed superior. There were plenty of people involved, and the praise for me seemed endless. However, Amelia couldn't hide her frustration as she approached me with a smile on her face as we stood by the dessert table. Amelia, I must admit, this place was absolutely amazing. Isabella and Finn are so lucky to have it, blah, blah, blah. She shot back that I'm a witch trying to hurt her and that I've been being passive-aggressive for hours. Well, she didn't actually say that last part, but you get the drift. I smiled back. I'm so glad you like it. Eyes filled with a mixture of amusement and triumph. I'm so glad you like it. I hope your day has everything you dream of. Amelia's smile faltered a little too much. I watched the wheels turn in her mind as she tried to comprehend how I had secured such a remarkable venue for my wedding in such a short period of time, even though I married before Isabella. She underestimated my determination to outsmart her despite the past conflicts that characterize our family. I can't help but wish that Isabel AF would forge her own path and not be subject to her mother's manipulations. She was young, and there was still time for her to break free from the shadow of her mother's influence. Amelia, however, as soon as we got home, Amelia started yelling at me. She scolded me for multiple reasons to list here, preventing her from having a better place and constantly overshadowing my little sister's weddings, and that I was the one who planned Isabella's wedding probably made her wedding a little more boring on purpose. I didn't invite Amelia Isabella to the wedding, and I was insulting her love and maternal feelings towards me also, that I was stealing her husband and making her look bad in front of the entire community. Finally, that I got more than I deserved, and that karma would strike me down and give Isabella a life 10 times better than mine. I admit I lost it when she lashed out at my father. I took her out of my father's library and told her if she didn't want to ruin her relationship with my dad, she should shut up and fix our situation. It became clear that the yelling wasn't contributing positively to our situation, and she really needed to reconsider her life choices after dropping my parents back home. Henry and I headed to our own place, presenting a united front. Despite Amelia's efforts to control and manipulate me, her attempts only led to her own downfall. She had underestimated my determination and lost sight of what truly mattered. I found happiness. I found love. And no one could take that away from me. Yes, it happened. It's been 3 days, and I needed to get this off my chest and maybe get some judgment from someone outside. Because I really hope I didn't cross any lines with what I did. Update 1. Hey guys, I'm back with a brand new update, and the story is strong and hot this time. Stop what you're doing to listen to this. I mean, I knew Amelia was pretty bad, but she's literally an evil stepmother from a Disney movie. Basically, Finn never wanted to be there. There was some weird money arrangement between Amelia and Finn's mom, and then Finn's mom forced him to propose to Isabella, who obviously, in her naivete, said yes. As the days went by, tension was rising again within the Finn family found himself trapped in a situation he never wanted. Meanwhile, Isabella, oblivious to reality, was excitedly plotting her married life and designing a schedule around her education driven by her desire for security and the constant wish that her daughter would surpass the narrator. Amelia almost endangered the lives of two people. Ironically, one of them was the life she wanted to improve. Determined to uncover the truth and protect my stepsister from a loveless marriage, I decided to confront him. Finally, I approached him one afternoon about a month or two ago, with a tone full of sympathy and understanding so that he felt comfortable talking to me. I discussed everything, and it turns out that he had no intention of getting married so soon. In fact, he planned to break up with Isabella because he felt like he was dating his mother. Due to the constant interventions and nagging, his mother basically forced him to marry Isabella. This gave him legal grounds duress for an annulment. They both decided to cancel the marriage, much to the dismay of Amelia and Amelia's mother. It was a difficult decision, but it granted Isabella and her the freedom to forge their own paths without the burden of a loveless marriage. Thus, with the full support of my legal team, I resolved the necessary formalities and secured the annulment of her marriage. Amelia was not happy. I continued to offer support to Isabella as she navigated the emotional aftermath of her broken marriage. Amelia was exposed as the mastermind behind the wedding, left to deal with the consequences of her actions with her manipulation, finally exposed the dynamics within the family began to shift. She screamed at me, accusing me of ruining her daughter's life and that I should have expected this level of jealousy from me. But you know who spoke out against her this time? Well, it was Isabella, who seemed pretty fed up with Amelia's games at that point. She went ballistic on her own mother and literally used her as a verbal punching bag for 3 hours. Yes, 3 whole hours. I sincerely wish it could have gone on longer. Perhaps I should have approached Isabella directly from the start, saving her from unnecessary intrusion into significant life moments. If only I had spoken to her about it. Anyway, this all unfolded about 3 days ago, and since then, Amelia hasn't been out from your room. Update 2. Hi, everyone, time for an update. I'm expecting a baby. Yeah, leave congratulations in the comments, literally. So happy right now, you have no idea. Plus, Isabella and Finn are dating again, and this time Amelia is completely out of it. She's involved in nothing, and Isabella has made sure to keep her love life far, far away from her mom. Isabella apologized to me, and I think this whole wedding thing really made her realize the disparity in treatment between her and I, Henry, and I get along pretty well, and he and Finn are practically best friends now. It's weird, but now I feel like I actually have both a sister and a real brother. We are slowly and steadily getting over it. I also apologized to Isabella for ruining her wedding, and I just don't know how to play with one of the biggest milestones of her entire life. She took it in stride, commenting that I shouldn't have been apologizing for not inviting her to my wedding and that our wedding was fantastic anyway. Hey guys, I'd say a win is a win, even if she was a little misleading on another topic. I'll tell you something. Amelia has been diagnosed with breast cancer. Yes, it is hard. Despite our history and the things she has done against me, it is a difficult situation. I am with her through all of this. Cancer is terrible, and we should all stand in solidarity. With her, true, I have been speaking to her doctor, and things are not looking good. To be honest, it was detected quite late, and she is quite old, so yes, I have to say it for the girls and guys, breast cancer can happen to anyone regardless of gender. Please perform self-examinations all the time and get checked. Twice a year, early detection will save your lives. Yes, that's all, guys. Thanks, update 3. Hey guys, I wasn't going to update, but I'm here with extremely sad news. Just kidding, Amelia is cancer-free, and her personality has honestly come a full circle. Everything is fine. Now, haven't forgotten what she did, but I have reached a point of forgiveness. Dad is delighted to see us getting along. She has been a significant support during my pregnancy, and I have been there for her through radiation therapy and eventual mastectomy. Isabel is finally getting married again, and this time I am choosing not to get involved. I mean, I have a lot on my plate, and now I have a beautiful son. Henry is thinking we should move because of this excellent job opportunity he has gotten, plus some of the comments wishing Amelia would die are embarrassingly despicable. Go out and play grass. It's not funny to wish death on anyone, especially a stranger. You don't even know. Update 4. Since my husband stumbled across my post and won't stop making fun of my Silly vent, I'm signing off for now. See you later.